Gerard Ryle is the director of the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, which is the organization that received and investigated the leaks. And he's joining me now from Washington. So, welcome to the program. Can I ask you how you got this? Is it classic whistleblowing, or what can you tell me about this cash that you got?
Well, the cash was actually obtained originally by a German journalist called Bastian Obermeier from Süddeutsche Zeitung, a newspaper in Germany. He got it from an anonymous source who claimed to be basically concerned about what he or she saw in the documents. And of course, the documents started as a trickle, but turned into a flood and a torrent in the end.
So is the source from Mossack Fonseca?
Well, it's an anonymous source. The person claimed that their life was in danger if they ever became known as the source for this material, because, of course, there are so many powerful people that are being revealed here.
So before we get to the people, do you have any doubt, and then tell me about your role in helping shepherd this into the light, do you have any doubt about what has been uncovered? Are you 100% convinced of the accuracy and authenticity?
Yes, we're convinced because of there was a smaller leak before we managed to get these documents. It was actually a smaller leak of documents from Mossack Fonseca. And in fact, that leak was given to the German government. In fact, the German government bought the information, and then subsequently other governments around the world, including the British government and the US government, were offered those documents. We were lucky enough to get access to that material. We cross-referenced that material with this material, and of course it all matched perfectly. And the other thing you've got to, I guess, understand here is that it's almost impossible to make up 11.5 million documents. And of course, when we went around the world to confront the people who were named, they all confirmed that, in fact, yes, the documents were real.
So it is a huge amount, and people are wondering whether more is going to come out. But more to the point, let me just ask you to sort of parse this idea of potential illegality. So obviously, as you know, and everybody knows, offshore accounts aren't always illegal. Do you believe, and do you have actual, sort of evidence that these accounts and these revelations show illegality? And if so, where? Where can you direct us to that?
Well, there's no doubt that illegality is occurring here. Mossack Fonseca may be correct when they say that they are an innocent party here. But you've got to remember that Mossack Fonseca don't always even know who the end client is. In fact, it's only when the end client turns out to be on a sanctions list, for instance, that they actually find out that that's the client they're dealing with. They claim that, in fact, their clients are the major banks and the major accountancy firms and the major law firms around the world that are using their services. And it's clear from the documents that Mossack Fonseca don't always know who the ultimate beneficial owner of these companies are.
So let me run by, obviously, a few of the responses that have trickled out today. So from the Kremlin, as we've already said, they deny it, and they say it's just another part of this web of lies about President Putin, basically saying, to us, it's clear that the main goal of such reports was and is our president, especially in the context of upcoming elections. Now, on the other side of that political fence, Petro Poroshenko, the president of Ukraine, has tweeted, having become president, I'm not participating in management of my assets, having delegated this responsibility to consulting and law firms. What's wrong with that?
Well, I guess in some of these cases, for instance, in Poroshenko's case, he did not declare that he had the offshore company. So that's an issue if you're an elected politician. With Putin, there's no doubt that these people are very close to Putin. I mean, one of them is the godfather of his child. And one of these offshore companies is the owner of a ski resort where Putin's daughter got married. And we're seeing some very strange figures in the documents where loans of hundreds of millions of dollars are actually given to people, and there doesn't appear to be any repayment of these loans. And you also see loans that are given in US dollars, but then repaid in rubles. Now, if you're going to invade Crimea, you would know that the ruble is about to go down. So it's a very strange way of doing business. And I certainly think that these documents, if nothing else, they raise an awful lot of questions.
Well, questions that some would like to see answered. For instance, the president of France. Let's just play what he said.
It's thanks to those who come forward that we now have this information. These whistleblowers are doing work that is useful for the international community. They take risks and they need to be protected.
So that's the president of France's belief. So what stands out for you, or rather, what do you think the consequences of this are going to be?
Well, I think the biggest consequence here is that this is a massive blow to secrecy. And the offshore world really only has one product, and that is secrecy. And when you take away that product, then they no longer have anything for sale. And I think for years and years they've been getting away with this secrecy. And we're also seeing in the documents that every time the governments and authorities try to crack down, they're finding new ways to get around those obstacles or barriers.
Gerard, Ryle, so much more to talk about, and we'll follow it and we'll come back to you. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you.